Somewhere down the line in my life, I lost my ability to relax. I don't know exactly when or why it happened, but I do know it's been one of the biggest challenges of my adult life. Much like I don't know exactly when I lost this ability, I also can't pinpoint when exactly I became so determined to gain it back. I think it partly started a few years ago when I underwent an extreme loss in my life, and I knew the only way I would get through the grief in a somewhat healthy way was to learn how to truly take care of myself, to accept when I needed rest, and understand what rest looked like for me in my own life. And more generally speaking, I think we all know how it feels to live in a world where productivity is highly valued and laziness is something to be avoided at all costs. Not to mention, if you work full-time or have a family or both, or just have a busy schedule, it can be very hard to feel like we even have a moment to relax. And when we do get those moments to ourselves, it's hard to take them without feeling a sense of guilt because it always seems like there's something better or more important that we should be doing. What? Oh, you got burrs all over you. I have been out to this trail quite a few times in the last week or so, definitely more frequently than I usually would because I really wanted to film here. This is one of my favorite places, but each time it just kind of went wrong in some way. The first day I forgot a piece of my tripod, so I couldn't connect my tripod to the camera, so that kind of ruined things. And then the next time was what you just saw, where it started raining and eventually it started pouring and we just had to go home. And I found myself feeling really, really frustrated in both of those instances, just feeling like I had these expectations for what I wanted to get done when I came out here, and just put a lot of pressure on it, and I found myself feeling really stressed out when things just didn't go according to plan. But also each time I had to take a breath and say, maybe I should just take this as a sign that I should put my camera away, try to enjoy my walk, and go home and rest, because especially on that first day I was already feeling really lethargic anyway. But point being that I often put a lot of pressure on activities and a lot of expectations on activities that are meant to be restorative, that I'm specifically doing as a way to relieve the stress of the day. And something I'm really working on is understanding that as soon as you start putting pressure and expectations around those things, it really negates their ability to be stress relieving and for you to find a place of calm and restfulness within them. I think it's also really hard for me to kind of switch my mindset from the working day, where I am trying to be productive and I am trying to perform well, switching that off for when I come home and understanding that these are the things I'm doing for me to come out of that stress from the day. I think that's something many can relate to, because we live in a time when we're encouraged to make the most of our free time, to make it something productive, to monetize our hobbies or whatever it may be, and it's really difficult to get to a place where we are actually resting, let alone not feeling guilty about it, or feeling like we should be doing it differently, or we should be doing something else entirely. So I've taken these little trips out to this trail and the ways that they've gone wrong as a lesson toward just not putting expectations where they have no business being. So I guess now that I'm on my third visit to the trail, I finally have met my expectations. But I am reminding myself that It would have been fine had they not been met at all, and it probably would have been better if I never would have had them in the first place. So I don't know, maybe that resonates with you, maybe not, but either way, I hope that you have enjoyed seeing one of my favorite places, and I hope that you enjoy the rest of the video. I'm gonna go and finish the rest of my walk. When I was in college, I took a class that was all about drawing mandalas. Specifically, it was about drawing them as a meditative technique. And even though we were drawing our mandalas in ink on paper, we also learned about traditional sand mandalas, which are just how they sound. They're mandalas made out of sand. And whenever the person making one is done, they just take a step back and understand and accept that whatever happens to that piece of art they just made happens. It might get washed away by the waves or carried off by the wind, but it's okay because it was never about the end result anyway. It was about the process and being present with the task at hand and detaching oneself from outcomes. And I mentioned that this is a real issue for me, is just placing really high expectations on activities that I'm doing, even if it's in my free time, and really feeling attached to some kind of outcome I want to get from whatever I'm doing. And I've carried this lesson that I've learned from this art class into my life more than I ever would have expected, to the point that I just try to apply it to so many things. And it reminds me that I am allowed to do things without there being an outcome attached to them. And just that simple realization is enough for me to feel a lot more calm with whatever it is I'm doing. Ready? I've come to think of my weekly flower arrangements in this way as well. Obviously, nobody brings fresh flowers into their home with the expectation they're going to live forever. We know that they will wilt and die and need to be replaced, but it's okay because it's just about that little bit of enjoyment we had for the time that they were there. And for me, it's about how present I feel and connected to my surroundings I feel when I'm out collecting them. It's just something I enjoy so much. And so whether it's drawing a mandala or collecting flowers or making arrangements, or something as simple as walking my dog or sitting on the couch doing absolutely nothing, which is also very, very important, I just try to remember that it's all right. I'm allowed to do this, and there's nothing that I need to get out of it. I have nothing to prove, and the best thing I can do is just be present, and which is easier said than done, but over years of repeating this to myself, I've managed to get a lot better at it.
Slowly we take on phosphorescence, vivid in the bone. Phosphorescence.
hope that you were able to find something in this video that resonated with you, that maybe you can even adopt into your own life. And maybe your difficulty relaxing, or your barrier that you have, is different from what mine is, which is about expectations and outcomes. Or maybe it's the same, but either way, hopefully you're encouraged to think like, I wonder what it is for me that keeps me feeling this way, and how can I look at it a little bit differently in order to help myself in the future.
Slowly we take on phosphorescence.